Okay. So, my $1 million idea that could be turned into a $1 billion idea is that anything big or small could be used to make you money, to bring you money. And what I mean by that is like anything that you think of that you possibly could do that could bring in money, write it down on a notebook and write the date when you wrote that idea down. And then when you have a list, or when you have your list, basically at a time where you think, okay, now I could start organizing. You could have 1 or 2 ideas, or you could have 100. Once you feel like you're ready to organize your ideas, organize them into categories. These categories could be different, like genres. Is it sports? Would it be books? Would it be clothes? Would it be flowers, gadgets? Or what else did I write down? Clothes. Would it be like a video? Would it be an actual product? Or any categories that you could think of. And then, when you have those categories, you know what? You could either do categories, or you could write each idea from the one you want to do first to the one that could wait. Just try to organize these ideas in a way where the one that you want to prioritize, the one you want to do first is the one you will do first, because that's the one. The idea that you want to do most is usually the one you should go with first, because it's in your head. And if you don't go do it first, you'll be constantly thinking about it, of like, when can I do it? How can I do it? While you're trying to do your other idea. And that is not effective, since you are thinking of your other idea, the one you want to do, while you're trying to complete the other one. And that's not helping your other idea, because you're not focusing on the idea you're currently doing. So the idea that you want to do, like the most you want to do it, is the one you want to do the most, is the one you should do first. Because even during like the hard times of making this idea a reality, you stick with it more because you're more invested into this idea right now. And once this idea starts bringing in money and you have it organized, so you could be sitting in your home at your house and every second you're getting money. Once it's at that point of where you basically don't have to be working on the idea day to day, because you will have like people working for you to do it and everything, then you could start on the next idea on your list that now you could focus on and not have to worry about your first idea, because you know that it's at a spot where basically you want where your first idea to be a teenager or a young adult, basically, where you don't have to constantly be watching over them like you would if your child was an actual kid. But as they grow up, you don't have to watch over them as much because they're more responsible. And even though your idea doesn't have responsibility, what I mean is that you have people that are taking charge of it and are working for you to make sure that this idea keeps bringing in money. And then once it's like that, once that business is like that, you can continue on to your other idea and just keep going down your list of ideas until you finish that list. And your list may change because as the more you live, the more you know. So your ideas of what you want to do are going to change. So don't be afraid to take something off the list because it no longer interests you. Okay? You could take it off the list, but always have it like as an option, as like an idea that you possibly could do, but you don't have to do it now. Like your second idea, maybe you thought that was the second thing you want to do the most. If it's not anymore and it's like, I actually want to skip down to, say, your fifth idea. Then create a new list and just put the fifth idea as the second one and the second one either as the fifth one or as the last one. Whatever. It's your list, your life. You can do what you want. It's just a suggestion. And by doing this, writing your ideas down, one, it clears up your mind because you won't be thinking of all these ideas that you want to do to bring in money. And, sorry, this just came to my head. If you want, you could also like write a book about your process of having all these ideas and then going after each and one of them, but at their given time, like how you would go after the task that you want to do most, that idea that you don't want to wait any longer to achieve it, to do it. Write about possibly your process or something. And then where it gets to a point where it's like a young adult, then you can move on to your other idea and start that, you know? And honestly, the next idea you start after your first one may be easier to achieve because through that first idea of accomplishing it, you understand more about the business world and you see what tactics work and which ones don't, or which one work for like entertainment and which one works for construction. I don't know, those were the two that popped into my head because you take two different tactics for those. And it's good to know which things work for one area and which thing works for another. Because not everything is gonna work for every business. Keep that in mind that whatever you create, whatever idea you have, it's okay that they're different, and keep in mind that the process of achieving them most likely will be different if they're different for one another, and that's totally okay. And the bonus of that is that you get to learn more in general. You get to learn more about the business world by having these different ideas that you want to achieve, and it will just make you more well-rounded. Okay. So what else? So I talked about making a book. I think that everyone should write a book because we all have our own stories to tell. And you might be like, oh, I think you're false. I don't have a story to tell. Well, you do. Because we all may have similar characteristics in our life, but we don't all live the same life. Because if we did, there wouldn't be change in the world. I'm just saying. So maybe write about your heritage, or you could write even about what if you went to pre-K, you could write about your schooling. So how was elementary for you, middle school, high school? Did you have it where you went from primary school to high school? Because not everywhere has a middle school. You could talk about your vacations. You could talk about your biggest accomplishment in your books. You could write about which day was just not the best. You honestly could write anything about you could write about anything. And remember, books come in all sizes, like people do. They could be short, they could be tall, they could be long, they could be any size that you want. And keep that in mind when you create a book, because it's your book. You are the author. You have the most control over it because it is yours. And don't let anyone else tell you that it's not, because it's your ideas in the book, or it's your story. You may get an idea from someone, but what you're writing, that's yours. That came from within you. And honestly, nobody could write the same book that someone wrote without knowing about it. Because God gives us these ideas for a purpose. And mainly it's because we're the only ones that could write this idea, that could talk about this idea, create a story that people will listen and learn from. Yeah. So that's my $1 million idea of turning it into a $1 billion idea. $1 billion profit. That's a better phrasing. Right. Thank you for joining in today. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and leave a like. And when you subscribe to my video, you'll be subscribing to Monday videos where we talk about God, give advice of how to apply God into your life and how to trust Him, why to trust Him, and how to communicate with God, and just learn more about God. I used "and" way too much, but that's all right. And then Saturdays is where I do a random upload, and I know I am aware that that's like, you don't know what that is. So I'll give an example. Well, first, I say random uploads is because I honestly don't know what I'm going to upload until like the day prior. But I've been recently doing a spoken word where I just talk about an aspect in my life, some sort of idea that got me to write it down in one of my journals, and I just share it with y'all. You could find baking, cooking videos, crafts, which are art, fitness videos. Usually I do like some fitness lives. What else can you find on Saturday uploads? Additional God videos. I know that. There's life videos. I think there's a blooper. I know there's at least one blooper. But yeah, so that's what you'll be getting if you subscribe to my channel. And if you subscribe, it also displays your support for me. So I truly appreciate, and thank you for coming on to this live. Bye, y'all. Have a great day.